Good evening, everyone. This is Random Encounter,
Alfina.
And Selbeck.
and we would like to welcome you to our June 2024 Valiant Gamers Game of the Month Post-Mortem for Lunar 2 Eternal Blue Complete. I cannot believe I made it through that sentence without stuttering. Tonight's going to be a good
Lunar
night.
2, Eternal Blue, woohoo.
Woohoo!
Electric
Boogaloo.
Boogaloo?
Bluegaloo.
Bluegaloo, yes.
Blue glue.
How's everybody? How's everybody doing in chat? how's, how's everybody doing in chat land tonight?
Chatland.
And more, and also it's important. How are you guys doing here in voice land?
I was doing fine, but now I'm almost not surviving. We have a floating cover, I think.
We do, and we don't have a floating us. I need to fix that momentarily. It's just hashtag just stream things. So you guys talk amongst yourselves while I get that sorted out.
I am really excited to finally do this. It's a long one. This was probably the longest stream for Game of the Month we've had. I feel kind of bad taking it a little bit longer than usual, but I just wanted to get everything in, including that epilogue. So thanks for bearing with me. And now we're eking into July a little bit, but it's all good. We finished it.
I mean, yeah, you technically got the game finished within the month, so job well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, 100%.
I know Dawn Trail's pretty good, isn't it? To go off topic a little bit, but yeah, Grimace. I was just addressing Grimace.
Montreal has been okay.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying Pictomancer. The MSQ though, the jury is still out on that. But getting ready for the postmortem and stuff, I haven't had the time to give it like I want to. So this week is definitely gonna be a catch-up week for me.
We don't have time to talk about Dawn Trail and all of that stuff, but we do have time to talk about it on our forums.
That's right.
ValiantGamers.com.
Now,
So let me just.
Let's get a thread started. Let's get 2 threads started. One for spoilers and one just for non-spoilery excitement.
why don't we
we could just do one thread and put anything that's in spoilers in our spoiler tag.
Handy dandy spoiler tags, that's right.
I don't know. Why don't we just make a whole bunch of threads? However many threads you guys desire, deepest in your heart.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you for this.
So what do we have? Oh, you're still working on it. Never mind.
I'm still working on it. So yes, Selbeck, I don't know why your name is cut off there. It shouldn't be, but it is. Anyway, yeah, he's Selbeck, but we'll just call you.
Yeah, I'll be a snake. Little sneaky snake. I'm a slithery little sneaky snake.
One thread per person per month. Well, fuck me then. I spent my one thread on the no context pictures. Totally worth it.
I stole threads from all of our happily joined but not quite as active users on all those announcement show threads.
My God, what an absolute champ. Seriously, if you guys haven't taken the time to go and look at all those announcements, and to be fair, it's a lot of games to go through.
Is it ever?
I cannot praise you highly enough for taking the time to do that for us.
I'm still working on it. I've been very distracted with not only real life things, summertime for the kids and all that, but also Dawn Trail for the last, half a week at this point.
Well, it do be like that sometimes. Yeah, it's even like if you don't have a game like Dawn Trail right now that's taking all of your attention, it is a crazy summer to play video games. There's just so much to do.
Mm-hmm.
And the Steam summer sales going on right now too, and ever grows my growing list of games, most of which that I haven't touched in Steam. But one day
One day.
One day.
Speaking of which, speaking of great threads, Skunkworks made that great Steam summer sale thread.
He
So thank you
did.
for that.
Thank you for doing that. Much appreciated. I remember posting to it and thinking, "Oh, come on, I can do better than that." Because we recently did the Valiant Together game night recently, that
Yes.
went so well in spite of all the little technical glitches of playing a 30-year-old game. But it was wonderful. We will have more details about that soon. We were actually just talking about that leading up into our stream. We've already kind of just publicly announced that fighting games are going to be the focus, probably Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition. So if you guys haven't played Street Fighter 2 in a while, you might want to bust it out. Practice a little bit. It's going to be fun.
I do have to say, what are you talking about? 30-year-old game that just came out a couple years ago, right?
Oh, honey.
Right?
Oh,
Oh,
no.
loud.
Yeah, most of us here still think that the 90s was like 10 or 15 years ago. And
Well, it was. What are you talking about?
oh, Street Fighter Kumite. We have to have the Kumite theme song. Like, we have to stream this and have that be the lead in. You got to survive.
It was a few years ago, Grimace. I mean, you're just a child. So naturally, it was a few years ago.
You're going to be like Null, Grimace. You're going to be young forever. You're going to watch us all grow old
Forever.
and die around you, but you'll always be
Yeah.
young.
Yeah, I know. He's definitely got some null vibes going on.
My head says I'm still young, but my knees say otherwise. So I tell you, the Lunar games, like we never want to phone in a post-mortem, and we're not going to do that tonight, but if we were to phone in one, which we would not do, these are the games to do it because the people at Game Arts and Working Designs were so nice to just give us these making of videos. Like we watched the first one back when we did the first game, and it was really informative. This game is completely new to me. So that's been a pleasure to watch. And likewise, I haven't seen this making of video, so I'm very excited to watch this. I mentioned the phoning in part because this is almost like the equivalent of the teacher wheeling in the TV into the classroom. It's like, here you go, kids.
It's movie day.
Enjoy. Exactly. Do you get Null's theme song? Grimace, you can have whatever you want.
It's a beautiful analogy.
Indeed. All right, would you guys like to watch some making of?
That sounds good to me.
Awesome.
Sure.
So we listened to your feedback the first time we did this. We are going to mute ourselves and keep our commentary on it during the actual course of the video just limited to the actual text chat so you guys can hear everything clearly. But if you will give me 1 second, I'll get us up and started momentarily. Let's see.
At 7 o'clock on a July morning in 1999, young citizens of Tokyo began to gather outside a shop in the Akihabara district. They were here for a chance to meet two of the creators of Lunar, Toshiyuki Kuboka, the artist who designed the Lunar characters and the world they inhabit, and Kei Shigema, writer of the Lunar scenarios. Lunar Eternal Blue is, for me, it was my very first game when it was released for Sega Saturn. The characters are very good. Each heroine of the series is very cute. That's why I like them.
可愛らしくてそこら辺に可愛い
The worldview and music and illustrations are very pretty. I can see that they didn't skimp on anything when they made it. I can see it in the game.
っていうのがはい。
Which scene was the most difficult to create when you were working on each game?
いや本当にかなりたくさんの人たち
Quite a number of people came to see us, and this was the first time for me to have an opportunity to meet in person with the Lunar fans. I believe this was a very valuable opportunity that I was afforded.
ですよ。今までルナであんな形でやったこと
Even though it was planned rather quickly, there were so many fans that came. In addition, they spoke of Lunar in such enthusiastic terms, so I was very happy with it. I also noticed that there were more girls than boys present, which I did not expect, and that made me feel
だ
good.
なと嬉しかったですね。はい。
もう一生懸命いただいて
Though I had to get up early to come here, it paid off, and I am really, really happy to have this.
とっさに出てきたのがレミーナだったんで
This is Lamina that Mr. Kuboka drew for me.
One of the things that really just blows me away is the fact that the US version of Lunar 1 was imported back into Japan by fans in Japan.
エターナルブルーはですね
Eternal Blue is in the genre of a role-playing game. There are animations in the event scenes, and those animations are very high quality. And the story is also very efficient in terms of appealing to the players. I think Eternal Blue is one of the greatest RPG games to utilize animation that was ever made.
言っちゃえばゲームなんですけれども、エンターテインメント
This is a game, but this game is a work of entertainment. Therefore, I believe that with a game like Lunar, which was well received in Japan, there is no way that it won't be well received in America.
You know, when everything comes together, you know, the art, the music, the storytelling, the characterization, you know, creates a world that's just magical and it sucks players in. And I think that's why Lunar is the hit that it is.
It was very, very popular in Japan when it was released. It's been released in like 4 different versions, both 1 and 2. And then when it came to the US, it has gained momentum with every release. Every release has been more than the one before.
The most enjoyable thing for me as a producer is to recognize that people from all over the world will respond to our games and say, for example, "It was great." Creative people, like me, prefer fan mail to money. This was the maddening project we plowed our lives into that by any means just had to be made.
ルナー1を作った時に
First, when we made Lunar 1, there were some things that were left undone. The creators involved expressed a desire to finish what they had left undone.
決させたいなっていうのがまずあって
And there were a lot of things they wanted to include and wanted to add, but couldn't either because of time factors or because of the hardware limitations of the Sega CD.
そうですね。まあプロデューサーなんで全部分
Since
かっ
I am a
て
producer, I believe I know everything. But many people are involved with the project. Perhaps as many as 100 people are involved. One difference between ourselves and other companies is that everybody who has their own expertise, such as scenario writing, illustration, music, and producing, got together and participated in the creation of the story itself.
でそれに実際それのプロットも作成したんですけれども
We talked about the story setting as a sequel to Lunar 1. We actually wrote a plot along those lines. In that plot, the original Lunar 1 characters, who had become older, would do an adventure with the new characters. This created the problem of having too many characters to deal with. So, in the middle of our planning, we changed the story to the present one.
そのルーシアっていう主人公
The flow of the story is one where the heroine, Lucia, never associated with a human being before. But by encountering Hero, she experiences human emotions, one by one. So we deal with this rather difficult theme.
これは At the start of the game, Lucia comes down from the Blue Star She's basically an alien who happens to speak the language of Lunar. And by the end of the game, she's grown. You've seen her grow into a real person, someone who feels emotion, someone who feels love.
The way that they handled the bath scenes in Lunar 2 was to make a comment on Lucia's growth. The first bath scene is Hiro and Ruby, and then Lucia walks in. And Lucia is completely unassuming. She walks in naked and she's like, well, you know, there is a girl's bath, but I want to take a bath with you. No sexual overtone on her part at all, but she was just completely unaware of, you know, what was going on. But by the second scene where she's bathing in the spring and Hiro walks in on her, the reverse situation, she's embarrassed about her nakedness. When she hears somebody's there, she covers up because she's embarrassed. And it's a great, great commentary on sort of humanity in a very subtle way.
In the Lunar series, we wanted to describe real human-like characters. This applied not only to the main characters, but also to ordinary characters who lived in the town also. We wanted to describe them in real human terms.
You want to play a game and experience characters, and you want to watch them change. That's the core of any good story. So every character in Lunar 2, as with Lunar 1, does change. And by the end of the game, you like what they've become.
These days, there are so many outrageous stories involving people's deaths, etc. But rather than producing that sort of story, I have been pleased to see a story like ours, where a boy tries to rescue a girl. That sort of rather normal story was well received.
A fighting game or a shooting game, those are easy. But to develop a role-playing game, which is the reason why people have stayed away from them for so long, is because it's hard. You have to make characters that people like, and if they don't like it, that's the end of the franchise. There is no sequel.
The thing that is different from movies, novels, animations is that the game players actively interact with the product. Especially in RPG, the player and the main character become united, and that is one of the secrets or keys to make it a most enjoyable experience in the RPG. Regarding our hero in Lunar 2, Hiro, I wanted to make him a little bit more talkative as compared to Lunar 1's hero, Alex. Lunar 1's Alex had some rather transparent characteristics. I wanted Hiro to have a little bit stronger of a personality. In that regard, I believe we succeeded. The storyline for Lunar 2 was also a somewhat more sophisticated type of story. So we tried to make the characters appear in a little more realistic manner. This is the main character in Lunar 2, whose name is Hiro. As an initial setup for this character, he was living in a remote desert area with his grandfather. His character was supposed to be an adventurous one, like a treasure hunter. I wanted this design of Lucia to appear in something that looks like a uniform. Here she is wearing a medallion. With this medallion, I tried to symbolize the relationship between the Earth and the Moon by its design. Since the character will become smaller on the game screen, I try to make sure that each character will have some prominent feature besides the clothing they wear, so we can distinguish the character even if the size is small. The previous animation, Lunar 1, was more for purposes of effect. For example, a huge mysterious castle appears in the script, etc. There were many scenes that had a significant visual impact in Lunar 1. But this time, the animation was more drama-oriented. There were many scenes in Lunar 2 that showed the inner struggle of human beings presented through the images displayed. Japanese animations are done differently from those done in American animation. In American animations, they make the dialogue first and adjust to that dialogue. We call this pre-scoring, matching the dialogue and writing it into a plan that is given to the animators. The drawings are then done to match the dialogue. However, in Japan, animators construct the images And then, according to those drawings, voice actors will add their part while watching the animation. First, we create the drawing based on the original artistic rendering. We then use the computer to paint the color into the drawing. This is called Paintman. Like this, we paint by hand, many sheets, one by one. As this drawing shows, character itself does not move. When we want to move only hair, if we put hair and character together, we have to make many drawings. And there's also a danger that the character may look a little different. We therefore make hair by itself. When we film it, we put the two together. It will look like the hair is being blown by the wind. The graphic data created on the computer is rendered using Macintosh software. At that time, the background is filled in with a watercolor drawing. The director, Toshiyuki Kuboka, was originally an animator. When he looks for beauty in hand-drawn art or detailed artwork, he turns to watercolor paintings. Subtle variation in shade of color or thickness of paint layer, the subtle accents created by the touch of the brush, these things cannot be done quite well enough with the computer. First, when the camera moves from one end to the other of this overlay, we slide it slightly to give it the 3D effect. The floor here is where the character walks. In front of that, we place this one, and then we place this one on top of that. The screen itself is moved while the character is placed in the center. This produces a pretty good 3D effect. This is the regular method we used here for this type of animation. We scan it with a scanner, and on the computer screen we add various adjustments and effects. After that, we place the character drawing on top of this background. We also adapt 3D CGI for use in these works. This 3D CGI consists of light wave images. Using this, we make a composite that results in two-dimensional images. We can also take a hand-drawn picture and render it in a light wave image. There is a scene where the blue star is captured by the camera as it approaches the Earth. And then at the end, it enters into the tower and captures Lucia. That was something we wanted to do from the time of the Sega CD or Mega CD. At that time, however, technically it was a bit too difficult for us to do. So this time, since we were able to do that scene, we hired a special design expert to help with this scene's effects, and we devoted a lot of time to it. The most difficult scene was at the end. We used the CG there also. A scene of a spectacle was very hard. Since this is a game, the scenario keeps changing throughout the creative process. We therefore have to rewrite the scenario and Ikante to match the game. The spectacle scene towards the end was added onto the existing art as if there is a summit with fog around it. And when we reached that point, we discovered another summit yet to be reached. This is Destiny, a battleship built for the land. It has a fin part that allows it to advance, to move forward by moving the fins. The modeling is very complicated, so when we complete one, we will use it for many different scenes. When we first make the original model, it takes a considerable amount of time. However, once made, to actually run the model through its movements does not take that much time. Natural things such as ocean, clouds, smoke, etc. are difficult to create. To make them look real is a challenging task no matter how much experience you have in doing this. Nature is difficult.
Gonzo went nuts with CG stuff, and they really did come into their own, blending that with the traditional hand-drawn animation so that you get this really wonderful mix of 2D and sort of 3D CGI that looks like 2D hand-drawn.
Music accents the playing of the game. Without music, playing the game is so empty and lifeless. Music expresses the emotional climate. There are a lot of pleasures associated with composing music, but at the same time, there is a lot of pain as well. When I started working on these projects, I started to get gray hairs around here. However, I enjoy creating music. Especially matching the music to the animation scenes is enjoyable. Usually, most composers want to use their time composing music for movies or popular songs. So I feel we were very fortunate to have someone like Mr. Iwadare, who understands music, but who was also willing to participate in the making of the story and expressed his opinion and created the music to match the story with a lot of emotion. As for Lunar Eternal Blue, the image was somewhat more grand and mysterious. We used the piano as our main instrument and added orchestration to it. I felt that it required a more worldwide sense, and I therefore included ethnicity to the music to some extent. Among the characters who appear, there is a girl named Jean who is a warrior. The place where she lives is called Carnival. It's a fun place. We wanted to give some sort of specific character to this town, and we therefore included percussion-type instruments like the tabla, which is from India. And on top of that rhythm, we thought that adding guitar and violin would make it more fun-sounding. Also, for the villages, we included some Indian music using the tabla as well. In the orchestration, we use Debussy and Ravel type of music. I personally feel that we also have Sibelius included in it. By using the influence of Sibelius, we try to express the cold weather scene. Even though it is Northern European, I felt that gypsy was also in it. So I tried to include an element of gypsy in it as well. For the sounds that are heard in the game, we use the internal sound of PlayStation. We use the Sound Designer 2, and we also use software that is specially designed to be used for the PlayStation, that converts the sound for use in the PlayStation system. If I click this, you can hear the sound of the bass drum or cymbal or tambourine. This is the sound of the oboe. We just put each sound in a timeline. Then we will mix it at the end. For example, like this. Originally, this music would be produced by an orchestra, and then we have to convert that into this small 200 kilobit memory. This was the hardest point, and it demanded a lot of work. My company does Lunar's game programming and graphics. Also, at the completion of the game, we finish it in CD form. There was a huge quantity of graphics. For graphics, we used about 30 to 40 people, and the rest were project planning and programming. There are people who work on backgrounds and those who work on the characters, and they each make their own products independently. But then we put them together, and we see how well they complement each other. The hardest thing involving my work is that it doesn't leave me much time to sleep, especially as we approach the end of the project. First of all, in the morning, I don't get up because I'm already up. I've been up all night, and I program and eat and program again. Since we made the game in such a way that everybody can complete the game, I don't see any player having any problems. But if you get hurt, it is best to go back. That would be the quickest way. If you push yourself too much, you may end up being defeated even by a rather weak enemy. I don't want the players to win quickly. I want them to enjoy the story, and I believe it is much more enjoyable to take your time in playing the game.
There's a tremendous amount of things that you have to do when you're localizing a game, which is sort of more than translation, because translation sort of implies just text only. We changed the audio from really low sampling stereo to 38 kilohertz, which is almost CD quality mono. So you get much higher quality sound. Maybe change the music around, increase the memory card system. We almost always have to do that. Then we make programming changes. We'll add DualShock usually. Analog is like a given immediately.
Well, the save systems suck because it only allows 3 save games per 2 blocks. And it also checked both cards before you even start the game. So I changed that so that it would only check the card once you tell it that you want to load or save. And I'm trying to get a minimum of 21 saves per memory card.
First thing you do is add analog support. Because now with the DualShock controllers, you don't bust your thumbs, moving diagonals and stuff, because you have that nice, smooth analog stick.
To make the animations look better, I changed the resolution from 256 by 224 to 320 by 224, which makes all the artifacting really small so it's hardly noticeable.
With Lunar 2, I mainly do all of the graphics for the manual, all of the packaging, and a few of the in-game graphics that we had to change that were kanji or Japanese characters.
Ta-da! Congratulations, you're a winner!
Our philosophy of translation is different than virtually anybody else out there because rather than do a literal translation, we try to do the translation, find out the spirit of what was said, and then write in that same spirit in English so it feels natural.
The Japanese writers are fond of puns. Of rhyming words in Japanese, but that doesn't translate, of course. You'll get a joke that translates, "Pickle, I thought you said baseball card."
So we'll put something else in there that's very American that people will get and laugh at and have a good time with.
I know I shouldn't look a gift horse in the mouth, but what kind of cheesy puff is that?
If you just want to go with the main narrative, all you have to do is accomplish the major events in the game. But if you're looking for a more enriching, rewarding experience and you want to know more about the world of Lunar, you can go talk to more people and find out more stuff.
And that's the cool thing about Lunar is it has so much text that if you really want to take the time, you can find a bunch of stuff that the average player isn't going to get.
Your world is in grave danger. I must see Althena immediately.
Another major thing, obviously, is that we record the voices. We do all the voiceovers again, we remix all those in. When we decided to do the remake of 2, and we were getting down to recasting, I kept all the characters from the first one where possible. One exception we made was with Hero.
Come back, Lucia!
I wanted a hero who sounded a little bit more assertive when he was yelling, a little bit deeper, a little bit older, but not too old.
Wait!
Actually, Ashley Angel, who was the voice of Alex, the lead character in Lunar 1, he was a friend of mine, and he introduced me to Victor, and we hit it off, kind of went from there. And I had a small part in Lunar 1. Hero does have quite a big emotional range, because he gets angry when he is exerting himself, especially in the opening sequence. He cries at the end, and that was difficult to do. You gotta have a Mountain Dew, and you get your throat kind of going. We have a monitor in here and kind of do the lip sync, and we have to get it in with the inflections with movements and stuff. I should have brought Grandpa's chisel. This is way harder than I thought. Ugh.
Not bad, that was okay.
That was pretty damn good.
I play Lucia. She's the princess from the Blue Star, related in some way, shape, or form to Athena, the goddess. She's just sort of a sweet little girl who wants to help, but she can be angry when she gets angry. I must go, Hero. Lucia and Hero, there's a point where they could say goodbye. I remember making it, just trying to get the real emotion in there and making it realistic and not sort of a fake goodbye scene.
I play Ruby and I play Jean. Ruby is the little annoying pink dragon. She is kind of Hero's sidekick. When I heard her at first, although it was spoken in Japanese, I could tell that she was kind of a wench or whatever and kind of stuck up. And so then I could just go from there and kind of apply my own wenchiness or whatever to that character.
If you can't shut your eyes, I'll do it for you!
You have to look down at the script and then look back up at the screen to make sure you're staying right with the movement of their mouth and look up and down.
I'll keep talking and the voice or the mouth will stop on the cartoon or vice versa. So we need to add or subtract syllables. So it's a lot of fun finding words that mean the exact same thing that are longer or shorter.
My name is Lamina Alsa. You have just officially passed
Lumina is the lord of this vein, or this world. It's like the magic guild, and it's not really a big deal anymore because it got blown to bits in the game before. So to her, it's a big deal. It's fun, but it's exasperating sometimes. I mean, it's a lot of fun, but you know, the things where you have to like fake laugh or fake cry, that's kind of hard. Or when you do one line over and over and over and over again. And sometimes one line can take an hour, especially with me. I always start to laugh. I don't know why, obviously. You know, but Victor's really good about helping you, you know, taking a break or playing a CD that makes you laugh. You have to add your own, kind of your own personality into the character while playing a different character at the same time, if that makes sense. When we're doing the voices, there's some parts where, you know, you think, well, maybe I should do this or that, and Victor's really open to, you know, maybe what you want to do instead. And you just kind of work with what sounds good, really. I'm able to speak the part of Ruby basically in my own voice, and Bill somehow, I don't know how he does it, makes the voice higher.
Ha! Oh, great! Don't tell me you're hearing voices now!
I'm working on a computer system that has a Pro Tools editing system. And in there, I have pitch shifting capabilities. I can reverse the sound. I can do just a myriad of different things to that sound to make it sound like what I want. The sampling rate on the Japanese version of the game is so low, so I have to recreate all the sound effects, humming crystals and everything. Well, there's 30-some animations, and in the more complex ones, there's, you know, there might be 100 sound effects or so that are, you know, individually placed and filed. And many times, a particular sound by itself is not enough. I'll take one sound, and I may layer 2 or 3 other seemingly unrelated sounds, and when I get done, it all works together.
I have a crew of game testers now because Lunar is such an overwhelming project. We had to, we were going crazy. I was losing people to mental institutions left and right. I am, and to a large degree, a lot of the people here are perfectionists as far as the way they want to see the game run and look and be presented and such. So we'll constantly try to improve and improve and improve and improve. And at some point, you just got to say, stop. You got to ship this game. Let's get it out the door.
The numbers that I was given from the different retailers at the show are just huge for Lunar 2. Well, everything we do with all of our video games is very special and very unique. And with Lunar 2, we're doing more than we've ever done before with any video game.
The way we're presenting the game to the consumer exceeds even what they do in Japan, and they're the nuttiest gamers of all as far as what they get for options. And so we're bringing that to the US audience because we're nuts.
Mr. Shigema's other nickname is Shower Writer. Everything he writes includes a shower scene.
Hi, fans.
Yeah, Lunar's a great experience because of the fact that I have to burp right now, and I'm going to slip it here sometime very soon. The whole time I'm talking, I have another one on deck.
It'll probably slip out, I'm sure.
Buy more games.
Are you taping? No, okay.
Oh, great! Don't even
Was it good?
My name is Kathy.
Victor says I'm a gold take out, or gold take. And so being insane, fortunately, has helped me. Young, adventurous. Horny. Oh yeah, he's definitely horny.
Oh my god.
I haven't done it yet.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. That's a big question. Line.
I'm not telling.
Oh, what a tangled web we weave when we deceive.
And she doesn't have any clothes on. That's like everybody's favorite part, especially Victor. Oh yes. Whoa, that sounds bad. I'm probably gonna get fired for that.
Dang! Well, at least we get good screw-ups.
Thank you very much. はい、どうも。Let's enjoy.
Oh, shit. And we are we are back.
Wow.
Wow, indeed. I was like, I'm gonna nail the landing on this so smooth, and oh god, it's so loud. Anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed that. I found that to be a little bit more entertaining than the first making of from the from the first game. Yeah. So fun fact. If you follow my personal random encounter channel, I have a WoW emote that you guys are welcome to use.
You definitely should follow his channel.
It's not bad. I stream on it every rare now and then. But I found that to be really interesting. I know that we have poo-pooed a little bit on some of the artistic liberties that Working Designs has taken with their games in the past, but I did not realize just how much work they put into actually improving like the quality of the audio and the cutscenes and stuff. That was new to me.
That struck me as well. Yeah, that was. I didn't realize that. And they had made a comment earlier about how the Japanese fans took the game and retranslated it back into Japanese. And I have to wonder if some of the work done with all the sound effects and whatnot have anything to do with that.
I would have to imagine so. I had originally interpreted that as they were just importing the game back to Japan, but did they say that they actually retranslated it too? Because I missed that.
That's what I heard. Maybe I misheard, but I heard that the fans retranslated it back into Japanese.
I did not remember hearing that either. So I'm not sure about that.
I may have misinterpreted something, but that's how I interpreted it. If anybody else caught that, yeah, they say translated. That's what I thought.
That's very interesting.
They don't really point out why. They just make a quick little blurb and move on, but that stood out to me. And then seeing all the work they put into the sound design for the American version and whatnot, I just have to wonder.
That's really interesting. In my notes that I kind of write before every review, I spend some time kind of just thinking about the things I like and didn't like, and I had some not so good things to say about some of the sound and music decisions in this game, but that may have me rethinking that a little bit. But base Working Designs coming in for the win to fix some issues here.
Say what you want to about Working Designs. They definitely cared.
Oh, for sure. And it's like I said last time too, I would much rather get these games maybe with a little bit of their personal slant thrown in than to not get them at all. That definitely is a huge win, and I think that was something that was missing in a lot of localization houses at the time, was just the amount of effort. Even if you didn't like the end result, it was pure effort.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So for sure. So Nicole, did you have a chance to play the original Sega CD version back in the day, or was this your first exposure to Eternal Blue?
That was definitely my first exposure to Eternal Blue. Silver Star Story Complete was my first exposure to Lunar in general.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was looking forward to the release of Lunar 2 Eternal Blue Complete before it even came out. So, I mean, obviously it had come out on Sega CD, but I had never played it. And at that point in my very young RPG life, I didn't even really know it was a thing. So for me, it was just more of Lunar, which I already had fallen in love with. So I was very, very excited to get a chance to play it for the first time. So
I didn't have a chance to play either version back when they were new. I don't know why it didn't ever occur to me maybe to, I had seen some talk about Lunar in the gaming magazines at the time, and I had a Sega CD, but it just never went out and got a copy, which is probably a shame, because if I still had those copies now, I bet they'd be worth something. And I did a little bit of research into that version prior to us coming into this, and I gotta say, what they did with the original Eternal Blue on Sega CD hardware was just nothing short of impressive because of, like they mentioned in the video, all of these technical limitations working against them, and somehow they pulled that out of their ass in 1994 was really incredible. I think that's just kind of a downside of like these remakes is they're really nice. Like, I mean, everything about Eternal Blue Complete is an improvement upon the original, but it's just unfortunately, through no fault of its own, diluted by the fact that so much cool stuff was coming out for the PlayStation right about the same time too.
Yeah,
And gaming was just changing on a massive scale there, throughout the mid 90s. So, again, no fault to the game of its own, but the original was just quite a revelation. Because to put in perspective, the Sega CD, kind of a problematic add-on for Sega, and we touched on in chat about how Sega kind of just pissed away all of their goodwill, making hardware that they wouldn't support, so that by the time their best console, the Dreamcast, came out, it was just the writing was on the wall for them, unfortunately.
That sounds familiar.
I wish that they had skipped the 32X and focused more on the CD. And given developers a chance to really push that system to the limits. But I think Lunar 2 is probably going to be the closest to that you're going to get. For perspective, the Sega CD is single-speed CD-ROM drive, so you're looking at 150 kilobytes a second. It's very slow. You have all of this capacity now compared to 2 megabyte and 4 megabyte flash cartridges, but you have to get really creative on how you access all that data. But the fact that they were able to put, so like for in terms of the music on the original, you can use like the hardware of the Sega Genesis for FM synthesis. You can use Redbook audio, which sounds really good, but it's very slow. You can't really read anything else from the disc while you're accessing Redbook audio, but they had really like good quality streaming audio at the time, which was kind of unusual for Sega CD games. The animations look fantastic, so I just want to take the time to give the original a shout out because it really was just a tour de force audio-visual experience if you had the chance to experience it back when it was new.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I had never had a chance to play it, so I really can't speak about it, unfortunately. But I would like to, if you don't mind me pivoting just a little bit, something that Grimace said. He said he found it interesting to hear about the original plans to the plot, which took place after the first game, which I did in the making of video. I did hear that, and I remember that now, but I had kind of forgotten about that. But now I'm thinking the bromides from Eternal Blue that they had of Mia, Jessica, and Luna. I wonder if those were original character designs, just vestigial remnants of character designs for the adult versions of the characters from the first game.
That's a really good point, because
like
they changed their angle halfway. It's like, oh my god, we got too many damn characters. What do we do? Yeah, I support that theory.
Yeah. Anyway, I was just thinking about that.
No, that's thank you for stopping me. That's a really salient point there. Cancer in the House says, Sega, hold up, I'll let you finish, but Atari was the best system of all time. Man, talk about a great publisher that just crashed and burned over the years. We could probably go on.
They were like 80% of the reason the video game market was crashing in the 80s.
We should probably do
the best of all time.
We should probably do a podcast. Like, besides like Game of the Month, we should probably just do a podcast.
Oh, I would love to talk about that. That's a whole story.
There's so much.
There's
so
a
much
whole
we could
story in and of itself too. But we digress. I wanted to spend some time just effusively. I spent several hours, the past week or so, just like watching little snippets of playthrough of the original Eternal Blue, and God, just what a great looking game. They really didn't fundamentally change all that much when it moved to the PlayStation. I mean, I felt like Silver Star Story Complete was there were a lot of changes there, but not so much here. Am I alone in that assessment?
No, there was a huge difference from Silver Star to Silver Star Story Complete. Definitely not as much as there was from Eternal Blue to Eternal Blue Complete. I agree.
I guess they figured,
Yeah.
why change what's already good?
I guess by the time Eternal Blue came out, it was looking close to what they would have put it over to on when they wouldn't put it on PlayStation anyway. So they just did a little bit of a glow up, but not huge.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas it was Silver Star Story or Silver Star. The original Silver Star was just a lot older, so it had a lot more limitations. So it was just the difference between games between 1990 and 1999, and then if you take that same like games in 2010 and 2019, like it's been moving at such a different speed. It's been moving so much faster than it used to back in those days. So you have to take that into account too.
This is us having our boomer moment of the night. Old people shouting at clouds. I mean, I just
back in my day.
I mean, I think you hit it. I can't improve upon what you said, except to say it was just wild to see that. Just everything. I'm sorry. I'm just going to shut up now. I'm so flipped. But it just looks so different by the end of the decade, and everything now seems so incremental.
But that was a pivotal moment in gaming all throughout the 90s too. It shifted from limitations on 2D only graphics to actual 3D, and nobody knew what the fuck they were doing. Yeah. Lots of experimentation, lots of crazy shit thrown on the wall just to see if it sticks. It was incredible. The amount of sheer just cult classics we got and everything, but like Nicole was saying, it was all brand new, and therefore progress was kind of, I don't want to say stunted, but that's the only word I can think of in the moment. Just because nobody knew what to do with this third dimensional piece of graphical interface. And so people were experimenting. It was the experimental phase.
Very experimental, and it can't be underscored enough that the technical limitations of the time definitely pushed developers to just try things just to see if they could.
Yeah.
And you don't really have that anymore. It's kind of telling when you have people designing whole retro hardware platforms. I want to say there's a system called the Pico 8, which some people have designed to kind of emulate like these old 8-bit computers and portables and stuff. Just
right
again, to see what can you do within the technical limitations of old hardware, but maybe with some of the more creature comforts available to developers. And it was just a wild time to be alive back then.
I'm really enamored by the newer, like in the last 5 years, newer NES and Genesis games that have been just built from scratch with their own code, just because people who can develop games are just curious and have the time to be like, you know what, I wonder what I can produce under these limitations and these constraints. And there's been some pretty cool stuff.
This is a slight aside, but somewhat related. Did anybody ever have a chance to play Pier Solar and the Architects? That was a homebrew Sega CD game that was released several years ago. And I want to say,
but that was released officially, wasn't it, on the Nintendo DS?
Yeah. It got official releases elsewhere, but it first came out on the Sega CD, and I thought that was really interesting. I played a little bit of it and thought it was just cool that like people are trying to keep alive this kind of obscure system, see what they can do with it.
Yeah.
I haven't played that, so I don't know.
Storage media was a huge thing. Atari was 16 kilobytes. NES was still, NES was 1 megabyte at maximum, but only a handful of games did that. Most games were anywhere from 64K to 512. And then, you had DVDs by the end of the decade, which is just, good lord.
Yeah. Storage media had a hell of a progressive decade there.
Yes.
So all this talk about all this vintage progress that we made. Of also maybe a little bit hungry to hear some music. Would you guys like to hear some music?
I would love to hear some music.
Well, we
Sounds
have
good to me.
We have put together a selection of tracks from Lunar 2 Eternal Blue that I think you guys will enjoy. So hang tight. And we are back. I love doing these postmortems and playing these games, giving myself a chance to just really sit down and listen to these soundtracks. Because one of my favorite things getting ready for these is just thinking about what did I like the most. And I hope you guys enjoyed our picks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun to choose. I think we got some of the best songs, and I definitely have some stuff to say about the soundtrack. I'll talk about that when it's my turn to talk. But my talk to turn. But I will let someone else take it off if they want to talk about what they thought of the soundtrack first.
Scott, would you do the
Sure.
honors?
Absolutely. Where were all the tracks, man? Like we have a good array of tracks, but it really seemed like there wasn't much individuality between towns specifically compared to the first game, which had a lot of individuality in the music specifically for all the towns. And even when we came back to towns from the first game, we didn't get treated to their original theme. We got treated to a different theme, which was fine. It's a good theme, but like it just kind of threw me off.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the things I was going to talk about. And it's interesting that you say that. Why they chose to go that route when I guess space, if nothing else.
Now, I have thoughts on that too. Go ahead and finish your thought, and then I'll add to it.
Just because each town in Lunar 1 had their own individual theme. You could tell where you were just by listening to whatever song was playing. Whereas, this one had, I think it had 3 town themes. It had like the, I guess the holy town theme. It was just kind of like somber and serious and kind of, I don't know, it was Althena's Chosen's theme.
The Pentacoolia theme.
It wasn't the Pentacoolia theme because that one had its own track, ironically.
Yeah.
But then there was
sorry, I've just been dying to say Pentacoolia all night. So
okay, yes, let's all say that 1, 2, 3. Pentacoolia. Okay, there we go.
Oh my god, my fingers pinched.
So did mine. So, but no, I agree with you. I didn't mean to take over there, but it's an odd choice that they decided to go with like 3 themes of like the Althena's Chosen theme, the kind of medieval town theme, and then the like happy version of Lucia's town theme.
Yeah, and I can give it to space saving, just because this game was based on Sega CD and this was a remaster of that game, right? So I can see not really changing much, but then they made this interesting decision to omit a pretty important boss theme that was in the Sega CD version. I don't know how the soundtrack from the Sega CD version compares to this, but I'm assuming with this statement that they are the same, except for this one specific moment in the Star Dragon battle where the Sega CD version had a pretty good theme just for that battle, and we were just robbed of it in the PlayStation version. That strikes me as strange. I can see using the exact same soundtrack that was based on space constraints because Lunar 2 was such a bigger game than the first Lunar, and it was only 1 disc. But correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Lunar 2 3 discs long on the PlayStation?
Three discs.
Yep.
So why did they omit that one theme for that one boss battle?
I have no idea. I have no idea why they made that choice. It's really strange.
I think a number of the dings that, the negative criticisms I have of this game seem to be deliberate decisions that I don't understand. And I'm with you guys. I don't know why they couldn't have included it. It sounded really nice. I think the sound and music design and some of the choices made in these areas were probably some of my worst criticisms of this game. It's not that there's not good music in this game. As you guys heard, there's some really good, there's some bops here. And that's not even, those 6 tracks are not even the limits of it. There's at least 7. I could name other ones that we would love to include, but we just don't for, time reasons. The game's got good music, but I think, like you guys said, the variety of music that we were exposed to was a lot lower in this game, and I think it's really holding this back. It's one of those things that's holding this game back from being a true solid classic of the platform. And while we're kind of just touching on sound in general, I don't really know who is to blame for some the voice acting direction here. I guess I'm going to put it on working designs because I don't know that Game Arts really cared particularly one way or another how they handled their localization, considering all the other stuff that they did. But we listened to the outtakes of the voice acting from the original game, and like these people have, with good direction and good coaching, I think any of them could have provided any range of performance that would have been asked of the voice acting. But it really disappointed me just how flat Lucia was in this game, and it wasn't like it's flat because the actress is bad. I think it was designed on purpose because, again, she's not a human, and over the course of the game she's starting to grow more human, and yet I feel like there's a way of articulating that better than just having it sound like she's just reading lines from a script. And that was really, really grating to me, especially when she's such an upfront and center character like that. I think that was a very poor decision on working design's part. And
yes, and especially since having watched that behind the scenes just a few moments ago, or an hour ago, however long it was, how all of them kind of echoed how often they had to re-record their lines to make sure they got it just right.
Exactly. So they chose to do that, and I just don't understand. That's another thing that people nowadays can't understand, is just how bad voice acting was for a little while there. It was such a new thing, and the novelty of it was willing to push aside the cringeworthiness of it. I will say it's not all bad, because other than Lucia being the standout problem with the voice acting, I thought everybody else was pretty respectable. Little hammy, but that's fine. Yeah. Especially based John Truitt and his.
Oh my God!
It was good to see him come back.
Yes, no, it was so exciting playing that game for the first time, popping that CD, and the first thing you hear is John Truitt starting the narration, and it's just this like oh shit moment. I wish that I could really. I mean, you've played games before. You're gamers and stuff. You know how it is. It's like that moment.
Whoa! Don't use the hard R here, Nicole. Good Jesus Christ.
Anyway,
she stressed it too. She's like gamer.
It's I have to overcome my main accent. So I want to say gamer. Just it's in my blood, but I have to. Gamer.
Hey, bub, just say it. Just let it come out.
What's a myrrh?
So gamers. Anyway, not to get too far off track. But what Germa said, like her being so flat makes sense a lot more in the beginning. But as the game goes on and she still sounds flat, it definitely is a rough decision. I agree with you.
Definitely.
And that's the thing, is that she began to show, like that scene on the dragon ship Destiny when she's on the decks and Hero comes up to her. She actually emotes and she shows emotion and growth, and you're like, okay, yeah, fine, this is coming to it. But then she kind of goes back into like the flat, dull, lifeless reads, and it's just kind of too bad that it's like you almost had it, but then you know. So
and truly, we haven't touched on the biggest sound problem of all. Of all the tracks they could have brought back from the first Lunar 1, why in the hell did they bring back the cave theme? Why?
And why did they use that as the de facto dungeon theme for all of them? There were so many good dungeon themes in Lunar 1 that they could have brought back.
I just don't understand. So
no, I hear you.
That was definitely, and all of that said, again, there are games with far worse music. There is a good selection of music to be had here. I enjoyed listening to the soundtrack to decide what my picks were going to be. It's just, I don't think there's any reason why it couldn't have been better than this, and it all comes down to choices that were made, on both sides of the ocean.
The elephant in the room has been addressed here. Thank you, Vox.
At least we got the music from Tez. Fuck you, Vox. Somebody ban this guy, please.
All right, you guys keep talking. I'm gonna work on banning.
keyed.
I'm gonna work on banning this guy.
We're not really good at banning. We give out subscriptions. So, what did you guys think of the actual gameplay, especially compared to the first game?
Scott, you want to take this again first, or are you still working on banning?
Sure, yeah. No, I got the ban in place. He's gone.
Okay,
he's done for.
thanks.
Thank
you.
Wow, you really showed him. Enjoy your subscription, Melatan68.
Okay, so this game, I'm trying to choose my words carefully because I have a very neutral take on it. I think it was a great game. But coming off of Lunar 1 and coming at this game so soon after Lunar 1, just a couple of months, this game just felt like it was more Lunar, which is not bad at all.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't stand out to me as what's the word I'm looking for? It didn't stand out as like the developers were excited to continue doing things for Lunar. It seemed like they were contracted to do more Lunar, and so they did more Lunar. And it could be because I'm coming from Silver Star Story complete into Eternal Blue complete, whereas the originals had so much different between them. And so those that were fans of the series had a lot more to appreciate with the complete versions.
Mm-hmm.
But being those are my first and only experiences with Lunar 1 and 2, it didn't feel like, beyond the extra story and the extra areas and stuff, it didn't feel like there was anything extra to the development of Lunar 2. It kind of felt like they just tacked on to what they already had, and it was good, but it didn't stand out to me. This was a game that if I were a kid and I were able to actually hone my concentration to play a game, I'd get through Lunar 1 and I'd love it, and I'd get into Lunar 2 and I would quit pretty early on because it just wouldn't have felt like it was going anywhere to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair assessment. And Grimace needs to stop living rent-free in my head and saying all the things that I was about to say, because god damn it, I was so excited to get them out. But yeah, I don't think that this game is, gameplay speaking, fundamentally different than the original. But like Grimace said, you have a run feature that's really nice. If you get good at using it, it does make getting around the map more interesting. And once again, I do appreciate that the PlayStation version of this game doesn't make you fight random encounters everywhere, including the world map. I do appreciate at least knowing where your next encounter is going to come from. I think that the enemies are also sped up in this game too, which kind of mitigates the usefulness of the sprint feature. But
yeah,
it's I mean, some are just practically unavoidable, but that it is what it is. It's at least it made things more interesting. Which this
there was some good quality of life stuff. Like the menu system was fantastic.
Oh,
a fantastic upgrade.
Not having tedious inventory management, chef's kiss.
Yeah, I did not have to stop everything that I was doing and manage inventory once. The only thing I really ever was stuck doing was like selling all of the stuff that I didn't want anymore. But I honestly didn't even have to do that. I just did it because I needed the money. But if I had just held on to it, it wouldn't have hurt anything because there was no inventory limit. I wasn't like, oh crap, I'm going to run out of space. I think that they did a good job of balancing the way that you used your items and having to use your items and having, I don't know where I was going with that, but just the difference. I thought, I mean, I don't want to go into my review just yet because I know that, Scott's in the middle of his thoughts and stuff like that. So I'll keep my mouth shut for now.
I mean, yeah, I don't have much more to add except that, I mean, if you're coming to Lunar wanting a true gameplay experience, you're going to be let down. But that's good. That's the same for the original. People are here because of the story, and they're here for the vibe. And at the very least, the game in that regard did not get worse. The needle didn't really move all that much. So, yeah, there's that. Story.
Matt. I liked the story. I did. I missed chunks of it here, but I've gotten the basic synopsis as we were going along. Just, life's been busy and I haven't really been able to dedicate the time to go over the streams after I've missed one. I've been able to catch up on some of them, but there are some meaty chunks of stuff that I've had to just get a quick synopsis on. So I have the general basis on the story. On the meatier parts anyway. I was excited for this game because I really liked, I won't say really liked, but I was very interested to continue Alex and Luna's story from the first game. When I heard that Lunar 2 was set 1,000 years in the future, I'm like, well, if this is a sequel, how are we going to get Alex and Lunar? Are we going to have time traveling shenanigans and stuff? And it didn't happen, and I'm also I'm both disappointed and also kind of glad that they didn't take that route, because I think if there was time travel, it would kind of take away from the whole meaning of what the first game was setting up and putting out there. I do enjoy a lot of the mentions of people from the first game.
I thought that was a good assessment. I feel like there was just enough callbacks there to really feel like it wasn't disjointed, but you really did feel like you were part of a greater narrative.
Yeah, yes. But I don't know. I wanted more. I wanted more of Alex and Luna. Overall, and we got a little bit of that. We got tidbits here and there. You could piece it together and stuff, and I kind of like that stuff. I like getting bits and putting them together based on assumptions and all that stuff. Putting 2 and 2 together to get, usually 5 in my case. But
yeah,
when it comes to Hero and Lucia, how do you pronounce that?
So everyone says it a little bit different. I usually just will say Lucia because that's what most people say, but everyone says it a little bit different.
I'm being a little facetious on that because even in the making of, nobody could really, settle on one pronunciation.
Well, yeah, Skunkworks,
but anyway,
Skunkworks raises the most important point though. We got Ramus the 100th, and he's just as much of a Chad as the first.
No,
sure is.
He's not. He didn't give free items at the end, so. But he's almost as much as Chad, just not quite the same.
When it comes, when it getting back on track, when it comes to Hero and Lucia, I wasn't really gunning for them as much as I was Alex and Luna. But at the same time, it did take Lucia quite a bit of time to even come into the fold of understanding and portraying emotion at all. So it was kind of hard to really get into the character and end up liking her. But having said that, I don't know, I'm all over the place. Having said that, with the story, when it came up to the end and she just kind of was like, oh, I'm so glad this is over and we can just live our lives happy again. Well, see ya. I was like, what?
Bye.
I don't know. I'm very confused on that. Like, sure, she has a purpose, and it's like, no, I have to wait. I have to go back and wait. And then at the very end, when he just kind of crawls onto the crystal and knocks on it, and she's just like, she wakes up. I don't know. That felt bad to me. I don't know how else to explain it. Like, I like the fact that he woke her up and they got to spend their life together. but knocking on the crystal to wake her up like she was just sleeping inside of a water-filled capsule. I don't know, like you had to have that whole beam that came from the tower on the Silver Star that shined into the quarter where she was being held, that woke her up and all that stuff. And it just seemed like there was more to it from the very beginning of the game. And to just kind of like tink, 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 and her go, what the fuck? What are you doing here? Didn't feel good to me.
That is interesting. I have a different take about that, but since you brought it up, I wonder. It feels like that some elements of this game were a little rushed on both sides of the ocean. Like, Game Arts was eager to try to get this out, and then Working Designs was under constraints of getting it out. Do you think maybe they wanted to do more and just said we have to stop?
Was this epilogue added from the original game, like it was not on the Sega CD version?
I don't know about that.
I don't know either. If somebody in chat can confirm, that'd be great. It took me a little bit of time to get invested in this game, and I think partially that's my fault. Again, I have a nostalgia for the original. It may not be as near and dear to me as it is like to you, Nicole, and some of our members here in chat, but I enjoyed it a lot and remember it very fondly. And I regretted not having the chance to play this when it was new to develop that same relationship. So I guess maybe going into this, I just said, oh, this is probably going to be a little bit more of the same, but I probably won't like it as much. It's like I didn't give myself the chance. So at first I watched, every chance that I could. But I think the moment where I felt, okay, I'm invested now, first was Null. That was a surprise to me. And then also, hello, Two-Tone. Welcome to Valiant Gamers.
Welcome.
Hey, that's my buddy.
Hey, nice. We love friendly faces and familiar faces around here. But
and roaches.
Yeah. Null's presence in the story not only was a great tie back to the first game. It's weird that a dragon adds a great sense of humanity to this game, which I'll touch on a little bit later. But while we're still on this tangent, I found something really endearing about the fact that Lucia's got a purpose. She has to go back. That's my impression, is that it does seem a little abrupt, but she's not done. And despite her personal feelings and this new sense of humanity that she has and this attachment to these friends that she's made, she has a greater purpose and she has to see it through. But I think that last moment to me, first, it was a callback to the start of the game, because when we first see Hero, he's hanging upside down trying to pinch that dragon eye out of the statue, and then you end the game on him hovering upside down of this crystal, which is a nice little set of bookends there.
Yeah,
but
that was
Lunar's greatest strength. I'm sorry, let me finish this thought real quick. Lunar's greatest strength is the vibes that it gives you and the feels. If you let yourself have those feels, I think that there's a lot here, just like there is in the first game. And something about Lucia waking up and seeing her friends came all this way just because they loved her and wanted to be there, and she just starts laughing. She's just so happy. Like, it was a little moving to me. So I had a completely different takeaway than you, Scott. Your point is valid.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
you misunderstand. I still took that away. He went through all that trouble, got everything said and done, and really pushed himself to get away to another freaking planet just to be with, the woman he's basically fallen in love with. It was just that. It was just the specifically the way it happened, specifically the way he woke her up. It just didn't feel right to me. It didn't feel good. I was hoping like her pendant would be the key and there'd be like a big flash of light and a big like cool scene or something. And it's just him wearing it, tapping on the glass of an aquarium basically to get her attention.
That's a great reference, Skunkwork. Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I guess I disagree with you. I respect that point, but there was something about the humanity of, these JRPGs, it's like a great pendant will break her open from the crystal, and she will be free to love the prince happily ever after. But there was something a little bit humanizing about that moment that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
But I see what you mean.
Absolutely. It just didn't make sense to me.
I'm so sorry.
Thought,
She's trying so hard to get in. Nicole, I'm sorry. Please.
Please go ahead.
Thank you. Anyway, I see now that I'm here, I'm like, I don't know what to say. But I liked the end. I really, really liked the end. I liked the scene with Hiro tapping on the crystal. I also would like to point out, going back to what you were saying, how when we first met Hiro, he was upside down. When we first met Lucia, she was in that crystal. So it was just kind of perfect bookends there too.
Yeah.
When you think about it. But I really love like seeing Lucia in the crystal, being, like, I am here in this crystal and I will wait here because that is my mission. And then when you start hearing the tap and you don't even realize it at first, and then you start hearing it a little bit louder, and then right about the same time you're like, yeah, there's a tap. You see like Lucia's like eyebrows start twitching, like the same thing like when you're just like, God damn it, that bird won't shut up. Like first thing in the morning. It's just like that same like twitch, like, God damn it, shut up. And I loved her reaction. When she saw Hiro, I loved her reaction there. Her laughter is really, like you said, it was extremely to be moving, and it was paired perfectly with Lucia's theme, which was an amazing leitmotif throughout the entire soundtrack, for better or for worse. And
I wanted to touch on that too when we're talking about the music.
I mean, there's just so much to talk about here. We're going to keep you guys here for 3 hours, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, so and yes, this is our Post-Mortem where we talk about the game, Two-Tone, where I finished doing the stream, and now we're just all kind of talking about the music, the soundtrack, what we think about it, our thoughts, stuff like that. So that's what that is for. And it is for the website valiantgamers.com, which has been linked in chat. So please check that out.
There is a thread there that we keep updated as we go along with links to VODs for our previous playthroughs. So if you wanted to see Lunar 2, but obviously this is your first time jumping in, please go back and watch those VODs. It's a very good game.
Yes. So anyway, I don't want to give away like my entire review. I definitely want to hear what you two think about it first, but I have very strong feelings about the end of the epilogue, as you may know. I thought that it was just fine. I think that the beam of light where you like teleport in is different, is in a different place. So it's not like I think that like Hiro popped in and there he was on the crystal kind of thing. I think there was like a different teleporting. I don't know. Repeat to yourself, it was just a show. I should really just relax a little bit. But yeah. Anyway.
You mentioned the epilogue, and I thought that was a fantastic thing to give us, because not really we played 2 games back to back that had an epilogue. That's something that's not super common. But Lunar Eternal Blues epilogue really just went above and beyond, and just like, oh, you like this game? Oh, here's some fucking more game for you.
We've saved the world, but now we need to save the world.
Yeah, I think
save the world, and then we need to save the girl.
That vibe that you had at the end of the epilogue, Scott, would probably be the vibe that I had the game ended at the end screen. Plus, also, that would have been a really unfortunate note to end this game on, because then we would hear the echoing, he's pulling his cock out for...
Which, by the way, there's a fresh clip of that mishap on the Twitch channel. If you look to the clips, you can...
I've only watched that clip like 50 times. Don't worry about it.
I'm so sorry. We have watched the soul just leave her body. You can point exactly on the clip where it happened. We had a good belly laugh about that. And first of all, I need to say it again here on the record. That was completely an accident. I have my push to talk button put right next to certain sound effects, and as much as when that happened, I thought I need to fix that. then I got to thinking about it, and I'm like, no, that's just such a happy accident. Yeah, one that I'm happy to make again.
Two-Tone, we're at least this community is a little bit of a Working Designs fan, so this was the original release that I played.
Yeah, typically, when we do our games of the month, it's very likely you'll see the vanilla versions of the games as they would have come out back when they were new.
Yeah.
Wow, I mean, I think we've touched on most of the salient points here. I do appreciate that the story gave me feels and vibes just like the first game did, the ones that I really didn't expect to have. And days have come since that last stream, and I'm still thinking about the game, which is good. That's a good testament to the game. The last kind of individual point that I wanted to touch on. Actually, before we get there, I mentioned the Null thing, and I just thought Null was such a nice addition. I was fully expecting Null to be an annoying asshole, very Rufio vibes, but the second moment of Eternal Blue that really ingratiated me to it was that moment that he shared with Ruby explaining, you realize that all those that you love and care about are going to die and you won't. And you're going to have to sit there and watch that and go through it. And that pulled heartstring. We do that all the time as human beings with our animals. They have such short lifespans. We grow so attached to them and then they just go away. And yeah, fuck me, I'm tearing up just a little bit thinking about that. But I love to see those moments of humanity shine through in these JRPGs that can be so formulaic and stuff, but again, Lunar's got the real vibes there, and I appreciated that realness.
And that's one of the things that's always compelled me to the Lunar series in general, is that there's just so much heart behind it, whether it be a result of weird localization or whether it be just the original story writers. They wrote a game with heart, and they taught some really important lessons in the sequel, Lunar 2, I think, that were just kind of natural continuations of Lunar 1, whereas Lunar 1 was kind of like a coming of age tale. I think Lunar 2 was kind of like growing old and dying, sort of, and the mortality and things like that. So it continued these themes, teaching lessons as we grew older, and I really like that.
Yeah, for sure. Popful Mail is a great game. If we don't do it as a game of the month, I would love to stream that on the channel at some point. Totally agree, Two-Tone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the only real holdback here in the story is that if you haven't played the first game, you are going to feel a little lost. So if you haven't played Lunar 1, don't play this until you have.
Graphics? You can.
I think you could. I think you can.
You could play it, but a lot would be missing from it. You would miss a lot of it.
I mean,
think
so
you'd
long
be
as it
doing yourself
compels
a
you to
disservice.
play the first one, I think you could play them out of order. I don't think this one should be left on its own.
Right. So what did we think of the graphics of Eternal Blue?
They were good.
For their age, they were fine.
Yeah.
I guess I'm a little bit more effused in my praise than that. I thought the animations in this game were really good. I did notice that it felt like that there were fewer cutscenes here than in the first game, and they were more content to lean on the engine to do the storytelling, and I didn't hate that. I think that one scene in particular where Lamina's whipping out the magic carpet, she's like, "Come on, guys, let's take it for a ride," and it sputters out on them, and they fall, not to their deaths, thankfully, but just like the way that the carpet was hanging off the tree and just kind of fluttering, and everybody was all scattered about, that could have easily been animated, and maybe they would have, maybe they didn't have time for that or the budget, but I'm kind of glad that they didn't. I'm glad that they leaned on that engine to do some of the lifting on the storytelling. I thought boss battles were really tedious because they were too fucking long. Yes, thank you. But at least the bosses were really cool to look at. I thought the sprite work was really good.
especially the epilogue bosses. They were all really good. I would like to note to Two Tone that he mentioned he had the Fun Collector's box for the PSX Lunar 1 release. That was not a collector's box. That was just Working Designs just released. Here's the game. That is what it was. There was no collector's edition. So
there was no other way to get the game than that box.
Yep.
I definitely, that was one of the things that I have the most praise of Working Designs for, is making sure like you're not just getting a game, you are getting an experience.
Yep. Yeah. And they did the same thing for Lunar 2, even more so. That one came, it didn't come with the cloth map, but it did come with Lucia's pendant, which I wore on several streams. And it came with some standees and a soundtrack, and the strategy guide was hardcover. It was, they just did a fantastic job with their design of their designs worked. Let's put it that way.
Get out.
All right, bye.
No.
Good night, everyone.
Don't.
Thanks for coming.
Did you come yet? If you know. If you know.
If you know.
Reviews?
All right.
Final
assessment.
Twitch clip of the ending.
So just gonna go same order.
Order.
Go first, Selbik.
Okay, I'm going now. Are you ready?
My body is so ready. Let's do this.
No. All right, Reggie. So, despite how I described my feelings of the game overall, I do think they did a good job extending what they did for Lunar 1, at least from the PS1 game's perspective. I kind of felt sometimes that the story was a little long in the tooth for some segments, but overall, there was a lot of extra stuff to this game and to the world from the first game. And I enjoyed it. I really did, despite, some of the shortcomings I've had. I really did enjoy it. I believe I was reminded I gave the first game a 3, but I would definitely not give this game any less than a 3.5 out of 5.
Fair. So I guess that's just how it's worked out, Skunkworks. We kind of talked about this during the making of videos, like, hey, who wants to go first? And the way that I look at it, Nicole's attachment to this game is stronger than anybody's here. I wanted hers to be the final word. That it may not always be that the streamer always gets the last word. It's just that's how it's been so far. Because like to me, Earthbound had a significant place in my childhood, so I had a lot to say about it. But yeah, that's just kind of the thought process. If you find that helpful, Scott, I agree with your assessment. I've read, I kind of wrote out my notes and then I went to go look and see what others were saying about this game. And somebody said that this was the perfect sequel. I don't know about that, but it is awfully close. I think if you loved Lunar 1, you will love Lunar 2. Aside from some of the sound and music decisions, I don't think there's anything here that's worse than the original game. The only thing to me keeping it back from a 4 is, again, the sound and music decisions that they made here, overly long boss battles. It's painfully stupid, especially when the mechanics are not very interesting. And that's really it. So I gave the original a 3, and I'm happy to give this one a 3.5, just like you.
All right. Well, as far as I go, I gave Lunar 1 a 5. I will freely say that was very much just like I have to give it a 5 because I find it nostalgic, and it is the game is one of my happy places. Like it always just makes me happy when I see that opening movie. So I wouldn't change that. So I kind of feel bad because I don't want to say that I don't like Lunar 2 as much as I like Lunar 1, but there's really no way I can give it anything less than a 5 without implying that. But I will, just because I have to. I mean, I don't have to, but
You
anyway.
don't have to. I mean,
I know, but I want to be a little bit more objective with this one. I do not have the same. It does not have the same very, very deeply personal connection that I had with Lunar 1. But I think, as far as gameplay goes, I think they improved it on it in pretty much every way. The battle system had some additional layers of complexity, some that I really took advantage of, some that I did not at all. There's definitely some stuff that I didn't really talk about on stream, but like the whole crest system was really nice and added some really nice complexity to the combat system. Again, this was really stuff that I did more off stream because I just wanted to save time. But I really did enjoy the mechanics a lot more than Lunar 1. I liked a lot of the choices that they made with the way that the combat worked. I was kind of sad that they took the ability to have one character be AI, besides Lucia, who was always AI. But like, if you wanted, for example, if you wanted Kyle to be AI this turn, you could have him be individually AI and then choose the rest of the things, which was really nice for contextual battles, because sometimes you wanted the AI to contextually choose what to do based on what the enemies or the boss was doing at that time. And you couldn't do that, which was kind of too bad. But overall, I like the upgrades to the combat system. I think they did a really good job. I like the dash system. Yes, there are some fights that you just could not avoid, but any boss that, or any encounter that you could avoid in Lunar, let me rephrase this. Any boss, any character battle fight that you could not avoid in Lunar. I'm just doing really bad.
I think I see what you're trying to say.
The encounters that you were unavoidable in Lunar 2 would have been avoidable definitely in Lunar 1. So you only could maybe squeak by with avoiding something in Lunar 2. And in fact, sometimes was almost like a probably, depending on how good you were at the timing of the dash. So I really did enjoy the versatility that dash feature gave. What more is there to say? I have the same complaints you have about the music. I don't like the recycled town themes. I wish that they had stuck with the more traditional method of having each town have its own theme. And half of them, well, not half of them, but some of them are already pre-written. Bring back the Meribia theme, something like that.
Right.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, the Meribia theme was one of my picks for Team VG's picks for Lunar 1, so to not hear it again was the disappointment.
Yes, I agree. It was kind of sad to see the world and how it had changed over the 1,000 years since the first game. Like the town of Berg was just completely gone. Who knows what happened to it, but it was just completely gone. Saith, the original town, was gone. Like there are so many locales that were gone from the first game, and I don't know if that was time or geographic locations just changing over time on the surface of Lunar. So that was it's kind of sad to see locations that were not there anymore.
That's a good point.
But it's really interesting to kind of like take a look at the map from the first game and be like, oh yeah, that's where the Goddess Tower was. And that makes sense because like now look at where like Pentagoulia, which is obviously, you find out later, that is the fortress of Althena. Like that kind of tracks of where it landed in the ocean like 1,000 years before that and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's kind of cool. It's kind of the thing I think about, but I'm kind of also kind of a nerd. So yeah, Berg learned the concept of continental drift the hard way. Exactly.
Yeah, I think the first game has a very strong Saturday morning musical anime adventure feel with some emotional notes, but this game definitely does dwell on the concept of change and the human nature a little bit more deeply than the first two.
But so when it comes to scores, I still love Lunar. I think it's a fantastic series. I would play the games over and over again. I would not hesitate to start up Eternal Blue all over again and play it all over again if I could. And I'm going to miss playing it. I am going to give it a 4.5.
Fair.
It's probably more than, obviously it's more than you fellows think that it deserves, but I just love it overall. I have a few qualms about it, but overall I still really, I love the characters, I love the story, I love the world, and the epilogue. I just love the epilogue so much, and the story beats. I do love, as much as the voice acting of Lucia was subpar, I really did like the growth of the character overall of Lucia. Starting from where she started to where she ended up was really cool in my opinion. So
yeah, totally fair.
For sure. I wish I had. We've discussed before. There was a little bit a period of time where I missed out on some PlayStation games. I just didn't have a system at the time to play them, and this was one of them. And I wish I had the chance to experience this then, but I just want to say thank you for popping my Eternal Blue cherry and letting us experience it at last. Better late than never, right?
Absolutely. And you know, there's been a couple cherries popped on this channel, so you know the feeling is mutual.
And indeed, we don't do phrasing around here, guys. We don't do it on the forums either. So if you came here expecting a quorum, it was eternally blue, but you know before it.
And it's still blue to this day.
Oh God. Oh brain. Don't. Anyway, I'm gonna move on and say that I'm really hyped for this month because now it's July and we have not just a new game coming our way, but we have a new series of games coming thanks to Scott. Scott, do you want to talk more about what you're bringing us?
Sure. Next month is just going to be a month of Star Fox. It's a game that I've kind of been itching to play again. It's been, good Lord, how long has it been? It's been almost 10 years, I think, since the last Star Fox game. I believe Star Fox Zero for the Wii U came out in 2015.
Oh my God.
Fact check me on that.
Fuck me.
It's getting there. Fact check me on that, but I believe it was 2015. I don't know if we'll be able to get through every single Star Fox game, especially Adventures. I don't think I'm going to touch that at all. But I'd like to, you know, spend a night on all of the arcade style on rails shoot 'em up games, starting from the first game, leading all the way up to Star Fox Zero, and maybe splashing in Star Fox 2 in there as well. And I think we've got time to do that. We could probably squeeze in 2 games in one night if it goes well.
I'm very much excited for that. Galleon, welcome. We loved your performance in Eternal Blue, and we're happy to have you here with us.
Just in time.
Looking forward to seeing all these Star Fox games. I don't have any experience outside of 64. I love the original Star Fox for all of its issues. Groundbreaking game, really pushing the Super Nintendo to its limits and beyond.
Yeah.
I'm also looking forward to Star Fox 2. That's one that's only come out within, you know, I guess about the last decade or so, but it was just kind of a lost
Yeah,
gem for a long time, and then people found a copy and basically programmed it to an almost complete state, and then Nintendo just said, "Well, fuck it, we'll release it on our online platform so you can play it the way that it was intended," and it's a good one.
it launched originally on the Super Nintendo Mini system a couple
Hmm.
years ago, before the Switch even had an online service.
Gonna play all the
When
routes.
was that?
I mean,
Was that
absolutely.
2017? I'm gonna try for all the routes and I'm gonna play in order from easiest to hardest for sure. Um, I don't know that Star Fox 2 is a route-based game because it's more of an open space kind of thing, open
Right.
encounter. But we're gonna do what we can with that one as well. We're gonna wing it for each
Duh.
game.
Get out.
We're going to
You know what? I'm just gonna have to ban him. I can't handle this anymore. You know better, Scott. So,
well,
he
guys,
got
it's
he got
been
to
real.
ban somebody. I'm gonna ban somebody tonight. It's just we need to send a message here that we won't put up with shitty puns. Because I never make shitty puns. Not now, not
Never.
ever. So, Two Tone, you're banned. With a free membership, 1 month to Valiant Gamers. I hope you learned your
Hey.
lesson. Scott, how could you do that to this man? He just got here tonight.
Oh no! Oh yeah!
What an emotional roller coaster.
That's what we provide here at Valiant Gamers, emotional roller coasters.
Oh my
You're
God.
welcome.
I love seeing Peanut Butter Glory Time, and it's I remember when Peanut Butter Glory Time was born, it was like a fever dream that never happened.
Oh my
I,
goodness!
I swear to God, the best creations are made during my streams, and I am so happy about that.
Oh man! For those of you who aren't in the know, that peanut butter glory time, the eyes and mouth on that banana are of the Klingon in the glory emote that we have on the channel.
Hmm.
And that Barry here was very gracious to animate for us, and it has been such a good time.
It's I don't have a future in animation, but I use my shit posting powers wherever I can to make this world a weirder place.
And we love you for it.
Aw, thanks.
Two-Tone says
See,
Garon for life.
he knows Gowron. Thank you.
Oh shit. I apparently I'm not subscribed to my own channel from the Team Valiant Gamers. I can't do the WoW. Can somebody put a WoW in chat for me?
Yeah, I can. I got you. I got you.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to just having a good time playing some Star Fox with everybody.
It's gonna be fun.
Which I think we can get started on Monday.
Nice.
Nice.
Thursday is a U.S. holiday, so I will not be available. I will be subjecting my children to explosives.
Nice.
That's so metal.
Nice.
That's the American way.
That rocks.
The American way.
Sweet. I'm probably going to be sitting here with my cats on the 4th, who are going to be very confused by all the loud noises coming from outside, because here in the South, the minute that fireworks become available, which is pretty much every major holiday, you can expect to hear them for a good week after said holiday is over, because people just stockpile and go nuts. But
We have been dealing with fireworks for the last 2 weeks because people around here don't give a fuck.
Yeah. But I'd be grilling some burgers and some sausages. It's going to be fun. Nicole, do you have any plans for the 4th?
Besides working, watching Scott's stream.
Not on Thursday, you won't.
Oh yeah, I thought you said. You just said that. I'm tired.
Aren't we all? We're old. Oh.
We can't do these 2-hour streams like we used to. That's a lie. The next post-mortem will probably be 2 hours. It's what we do. We can't shut up.
Well, there's going to be like 4 or 5 games.
I always love the.
Post-Mortem,
I
so
always
we've
just
got something
love.
to say.
I love shooting the shit during Post-Mortem, so it's fine.
It's great. I again, thank you for bringing this game to us, Nicole. I'm glad I finally had a chance to experience it.
Yeah,
Ended up
me
just really
too.
enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would. And yeah, I just love tearing these games apart and just really picking your brains over what you liked and what you didn't. And chat, you guys being here too is just the cherry. It's just the eternal blue cherry on the cake. I'll ban myself now. Thank you. Good night.
So many cherries. I love cherries. Anyway, it was. I can't. I said this on the forums, but I would like to say it again. It was such a pleasure to play both Lunar 1 and then Lunar 2 as Game of the Month. I'm glad that I was able to do it. I was glad that I was able to show some people who hadn't seen it before and share it. I feel like sharing that game, it definitely helps my friends get to know me a little bit better too, because they saw something that was important to me. So thank you for being there and watching. So
oh yeah.
Absolutely.
The Palace Squad showing up for every stream. The banter was incredible. I mean, we
Yeah.
love all of our members, but Grimace, you were in some real MVP territory. Just all the commentary that you had and the passion that you guys have for these games means a lot. And it I think it helped enhance my appreciation to me just like trying to play it and feel through it myself. He is special. Pat is our very special child. And remember, he's just
he
a
is
child.
just a child. It looks like we have.
I am going to echo the chat here and say we should keep it going. Next Nicole stream, we should do the 3rd Lunar game. Absolutely.
I was going to.
It's got to get better, right?
I was going to say, looks like Scott, you might have a request, but you want me to do it?
No, I'll do it for sure.
He doesn't give a fuck. He'll do it.
Listen,
we'll see.
I'm all about playing those shorter games, right? So why not play a game I'm going to rage quit?
Maybe I'll play Dragon Song. Maybe I'll actually finish it. Who knows?
Did you or anybody here in chat ever play that Lunar game that came out for the Game Gear? I know it was just in Japan only, but somebody released a translation some years ago.
No,
the Magical School Lunar?
Yeah, that's the one.
I never played that.
I gotcha. So, I mean, I was kind of wondering what you were going to do with yourself now that 2 of like your biggest white whale games are now done. Are you going to fly to Japan and insist that Team Alex get back together and make a 3rd one?
If some of the chat wants to get on the plane with me and we can make like a little like squad and storm, wherever the people happen to be, let's fucking go to Japan. Let's do it.
I'd join you, but I'm not part of the chat.
Noriyuki Irodari is going to wake up in the middle of the night with like Nicole holding a gun to his head like, wake up, bitch, you're going to go composing.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, grab your torches. We're going to Japan.
Nice. I cannot wait to see this unfold. If you guys need bail money, I'm here.
Thanks.
Well, folks, it was a lot of fun. Again, I can't stress enough, Valiant Gamers is a fantastic community, and if you are not a part of our community, we would love to have you there. Just go to valiantgamers.com. Constantly trying to add things there to make it worth your while. But again, thank you so much for showing up. We do this for you guys, and it's been a pleasure. So signing off, I am Random Encounter.
I'm Althena.
And I am Selbeck.
If the screen is to be believed, you're just.
Yeah, I'm.
You guys have a wonderful night, and we will see you next time.
Good night.